Good evening. I would like to call the March 10th, 2025 Planning Commission special meeting to order. Please note this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city website and by teleconference via Zoom. I would like to remind the planning commissioners to have their microphones turned on in position so the audience can hear. Director Monique, may we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Worth,
Here.
Commissioner Clark,
Present.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Vice Chair Papp,
Here.
Chair Beamsterfer.
Here. And now invocation flag salute, starting with the flag salutes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, I thank you for bringing us here today, Lord. I thank you for bringing us in good health. And I pray for our decision-making tonight, Lord, and I pray for our city, our state, and our country. In your name we pray, amen. Agenda item 4 is for public comment periods for items not on the agenda. Are there any members of the public present that would like to comment on an item not on the agenda or on teleconference?
Chair Beamsterfer, I do not show anyone online requesting to speak, and I did not receive any e-comments.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item 5 for the approval of the minutes from February 4th, 2025. Does the commission have any comments or corrections?
I have no comments or corrections. I've reviewed it and it looks good to me.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Planning Commission meeting of February 4th, 2025.
I second it. Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Worth?
Aye.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Vice Chair Papp?
Yes.
Chair Beamsterfer?
Yes.
And that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Item 6A is a site development review and variance for High Point Astor River Oaks apartment. Director Monique. He'll do it for you.
Hear me? Okay, here we go. All right, good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission and the community. I'm Monique Alanis-Flater, Community Development Director. Tonight before you is a public hearing, Site Development Review 23-001 and Variance 23-001 for High Point Astor River Oaks Apartments. Next slide. The proposal is in alignment with the City Council's Quality of Life Strategic Plan to manage the city's growth by protecting and preserving the environment, by maximizing the use of public infrastructure and concentrating housing and development where public facilities and infrastructure are available, as well as enhancing the visual appearance of the community on vacant land, as well as implementing our housing program. Next slide. The applicant is High Point Hemet ILLC, as well as the applicant. Next slide. This evening, the applications involved are site development review and a variance. The Planning Commission has the authority to review and impose conditions of approval on the development of properties and the conditions of the proposed use to approve or deny a site development review. What I did want to clarify is what the purpose of a site development review is. The site development review is a measure of compliance to ensure that the project or the development complies with the development standards of the Hemet Municipal Code, the building code, the fire code, and applicable design criteria. And it also further is intended that the city provide orderly administration of the various regulations of the city to minimize future problems through the review and approval of development proposals through the site development review process. Just for clarification, this is not a use request, a use application. The use within and of itself, which we will further describe, is permitted, and the site development review is the application along with a variance. In addition, prior to consideration of the Planning Commission, when an application is developed in accordance with Chapter 90 of the Zoning Code, there is a development review committee, which is comprised of the building official, the police chief, the fire chief, community development director, public works director, and their designees to review the applications for consistency with our Hemet Municipal Code, as well as outside stakeholders, utility companies, or outside governmental organizations to review for compliance for the fire code, the building code, and other applicable local, state, and federal laws. Next slide. The 10.07 acre project site is located at the southwest corner of West Stetson Avenue and South Elk Street, east of Lyon Avenue, and west of Palm Avenue. Next slide, please. The property is located in the high-density residential, 18.1 to 30 dwelling units per acre, general plan land use designation. Next slide, please. And has a zoning designation of R3 multifamily residential with a maximum of 30 dwelling units per acre. The project includes 228 units of multifamily housing. The proposed density of the project is 22.6 dwelling units per acre based on 10.07 gross acres. Surrounding land uses include Sierra Dawn Estates to the north, single-family homes to the south, Pacifica Senior Living to the east, and vacant R3 zoned property to the west. Next slide. The proposed project consists of 228 unit multifamily residential apartment processed under this application, which includes a variance related to private open space and a parcel merger to combine two parcels into a single parcel for the development. The development includes 8 three-story apartment buildings and a 1-story clubhouse and leasing area. The project incorporates outdoor and indoor recreation areas for residents, which will be covered in detail. Vehicular access to the site will be served from a 48-foot wide driveway on South Elk Street. South Elk Street is currently a collector road constructed as a 2-lane undivided roadway. Secondary emergency access will be served from West Stetson, which is part of the design. Curb, gutter, sidewalk, landscaping, street frontage landscaping, and fencing are proposed to be constructed on both Elk Street and Stetson Avenue frontages. Building 1, 2, and 3, as illustrated on the site plan, are positioned approximately 39 feet back from the property line along Stetson and 50 feet away, approximately 50 feet from the curb line of Stetson Avenue, which this is including the additional right-of-way required. Buildings 4 and 7 are located within the interior of the development, Buildings 5 and 6 are approximately 156 feet away from single-family residential properties to the south. Building 4 and 5 are approximately 90 feet from the property line of Pacifica Senior Living to the east, with a total of 120 feet measured from the closest structure, the Pacifica residential structure, from the apartment building. Building 8 is approximately 90 to 100 feet set back from the south property line, with a total ranging from 100 to 120 feet away from the closest residential structures to the south. The total number of required parking spaces is 407 for residential units and 46 guest spaces. The applicant has provided a total of 453 parking spaces, which include 58 one-car garage spaces with remotes, 350 carports, and 46 uncovered spaces for guests and leasing office guests. The parking requirement has been met. Additionally, the project includes fencing, a 6-foot 8-inch high combination of tubular steel and combined with block pilasters with wall caps along Stetson Avenue and Elk Street, 6-foot ornamental steel double swing gates with Knox auto key switch will be installed at gate entrances for emergency apparatus, and construction of a new 6-foot perimeter solid block masonry wall is proposed along the south and east boundaries of the site. Next slide, please. The current illustration provides the fire department access plan, and the fire department access is going to be served on the site, including 26-foot drive aisle widths to accommodate fire truck and turn-in radiuses, as well as minimum hose pulls for fire truck service. Secondary emergency access will be served from West Stetson, which is an emergency access only. Gate access will also include, as previously mentioned, emergency Knox boxes. The fire department, Department of Life Safety, has approved the conceptual design and has provided conditions of approval for the project. Next slide, please. The architectural design for the development is modern and it includes building facades, which are simple, square, and rectangular in nature. The elevations provide articulation through the creative use of colors, window orientation, board railing, recessed windows, patio projections, and interplay of gabled roof and parapets. The color schemes are slate stone, mountain blend, and integral colored stucco, sand finish, Hamburg gray, and Soji white with Soji white trim. Exterior patio enclosures include a cementitious board material in Allura red rock. Falls. Color scheme 2 includes concrete tile roofing in Saxony 900, country slate Sahara quartz blend, and integral colored stucco. Exterior patio enclosures include a cementitious board material in Allura red rock. Falls. All buildings are garden-style walk-ups with concrete slab on grade foundations. The contemporary architectural design of the project will enhance the visual character of the neighborhood through good extended use of materials. Building type A will include 36 units per building, and building type B will include 24 units per building. Next slide. This is incorporating building type A design architecture. And next slide. This slide includes building type B. Next slide, please. The current illustration is the clubhouse. Next slide, please. And the current illustration is the maintenance building that is proposed at the southeast corner of the development. Next slide, please. So we'll kind of briefly go through the slides here, but I just want to give you an overview of the floor plans. The apartments will include studios and 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom dwelling units ranging from 599 square feet to 1,109 square feet of living area, as well as 2-bedroom units at a larger square footage. All the units will include kitchen, living room area, stackable washer and dryer, and a private open space patio. The studio includes 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. P1A, there are different floor plans. P1A is a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom at 726 square feet. Next slide. This is the PSA studio floor plan. Next slide, please. The next one is P1A, which is the 726 square foot floor plan. Next slide, please. P2B is a 2-bedroom with extended floor, lower floor patio option. Next slide, please. And P2A is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath totaling 1,119 square feet. This is the more common bedroom type between the P1A and the P2A. The total number of units for the development are 228 residential units. Next slide, please. The proposed on-site landscaping combination includes 36-inch box trees, 24-inch box trees, and 15-gallon size with various shrubs and ground cover. Pursuant to the Hemet Municipal Code, the requirement is a minimum of 1.75 trees per dwelling unit. At least 1/3 up to 1/2 of the tree shall be in open space areas, and a mix of 24-inch box and 15-gallon size. A total of 453 trees are proposed, which exceeds the minimum required. Screening trees will be planted along the south and east landscape buffers areas, including Afghan pine, crepe myrtle, Australian willow, and Chinese pistache. As part of the overall development, the condition for drainage will include storm water runoff flows from the apartments to drain to the southwest to a bioretention basin located at the southwest corner of the site. Stormwater runoff from the clubhouse drains to separate bioretention basin located just northwest of the project main entrance. The bioretention basins drain via metered subdrains to an existing storm drain catch basin at the southeast corner of the intersection of Stetson Avenue and Elk Street. Next slide, please. So here are the varying shrubs that they're the planting palette. Next slide, please. Oh, actually, these are, I'm sorry. These are the trees and the shrubs. The illustrations that are highlighted in red are the actual trees that will be planted for screening. Next slide, please. And we have an additional palette shrubs and ground cover for the proposed development, which is aesthetically colorful and drought tolerant. Next slide, please. The project incorporates 61,291 square feet of outdoor and indoor recreation areas for residential and guests to enjoy. Residential amenities include the clubhouse with gym, flex workspace, coffee bar, conference room, a great room, and lounge. Outdoor recreation includes a swimming pool with outdoor covered terrace and spa. Additional amenities include outdoor courtyard area with beyond the great room with a feature. Next slide, please. So here, the amenities, the additional amenities include the outdoor courtyard area with a great room with feature wall with fire pit, outdoor workstation, community barbecue grills, tot lot with playground, landscape pedestrian pathways with seating nodes, a dog run, pet refuse station, and indoor dog wash. As part of this application, The applicant is requesting a variance from the Hemet Municipal Code 90-386F1B, which prescribes 100 square feet of private open space for a one-bedroom and 150 square feet of private open space for 2 or more bedrooms, with an average of 125 square feet respectively. The findings for this in terms of support for approval of it is that a few things that we look at, basically a variance is if there's any inconsistencies based on the limitations placed on others' properties in the same zoning district. We looked at, is there a unique circumstance related to this property in question? When we looked at this property, the applicant did not find other multifamily residential developments to compare to in the city of Hemet, because it's been a while since we've had new construction. So that was one of the difficulties in comparing similar properties. Another thing to consider is the amount of land to the development site that you're constructing on. In this case, in order to be able to meet the development standards, the density, the minimum density, or the density range on 10 approximately 10 acres, they're using 74.2% is devoted to construction and development of the site, which it's very limited on their site layout. In addition, the applicant is providing 61,292 square feet of open space, common open space amenities, which exceeds the minimum required of 57,000 square feet for the development. Next slide, please. I do want to cover the traffic. So there were 2 different analyses completed for this development. One being with residential, a vehicle miles traveled analysis was analyzed, and the conclusion is that based on that analysis, it was presumed to have a less than significant impact based on how we analyze through our WRCOG, Western Riverside Council of Governments vehicle miles travel tool. And this was completed by a traffic engineer as well as peer reviewed by the city's traffic engineer. The traffic study that was prepared separately is what it does is it compares what our general plan build out is and what our general plan level of service is. We look at that separately. So there was a traffic study prepared for by the applicant's traffic consultant or traffic engineer, and also peer reviewed by the cities. So the way it was reviewed is based on level of service. Our circulation element of the general plan establishes level of service D or better as acceptable level of services during peak hour traffic for signalized intersections. The applicant's consultant is on the line tonight and can speak further to us, but I just want to outline what was looked at. And as presented here, there were 4 intersections in the vicinity that were analyzed for level of service. That was South Elk Street, West Stetson Avenue, South Palm Avenue, West Stetson Avenue intersection, 3, Lyon Avenue, West Stetson Avenue intersection, and South Elk Street project review driveway. And these were all based on the ITE trip generation 11th edition criteria. And based on that, I won't go into detail on the numbers, and I'll allow the applicant to provide that information should the commission wish to have that information. But the conclusion is that the project would continue to operate within these intersections at an acceptable level of service. I also want to note that this was recently the intersection of Stetson and Elk was recently signalized as part of the development for the residential to the south, which will aid in ensuring that, that the thresholds are met. Next slide, please. As part of the staff report, there are findings that are outlined for the development, for site development review. I just kind of wanted to briefly I identify what those findings are, which are identified in your resolution and to attach to your staff report. Additionally, next slide, please. The variance findings are also outlined in the staff report for the project. Next slide, please. And at this time, I'm going to take a pause for our city attorney, Leila, to provide a little more information and background on this project in with regards to the Housing Accountability Act, SB 330.
Thank you, Monique. Just wanted to touch lightly on the SB 330 bill. Essentially, the bill was first signed into law back in October 9th, 2019. And SB 330 creates new state laws directing how local governments may regulate housing production, preservation, and planning. It amended the State Housing Accountability Act, HAA, Permit Streamlining Act, and Planning and Zoning Law, all under Title VII of the California Government Code. The bill established a 10-year statewide housing emergency, which began January 1st, 2020, and now it extended an additional 5 years, so till January 1st, 2030. SB 330 aims to increase certainty in the development process, speed the review of new housing development projects, preserve existing affordable housing, encourage the development of new housing units, particularly affordable ones, and prevent certain zoning actions that reduce the availability of housing. The housing laws establish concrete project processing timelines, impose streamlining requirements, limit discretionary review of housing development projects, and prohibit plan level downzoning, and moratoriums on housing. So just to provide more background when analyzing a project, it also restricts discretionary review on market rate housing development projects. If the project complies with an objective general plan, zoning, and subdivision standards and criteria, including design review standards, in effect at the time that the development application was deemed complete, the project can only be denied if the city can support the following findings. So I separated 2 findings that the city needs to find in order to deny a project. Number 1, if the housing development project would have a specific adverse impact on public health and safety, which is a very high threshold to hold. And number 2, there is no feasible method to satisfactorily mitigate or avoid adverse impact. So that was my little summary on SB 330.
Thank you, Leila. I'm going to go ahead and just conclude the staff report. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so the city, in conclusion, the city has determined that the project would not have a significant impact on the environment and incorporated standards of conditions of approval and mitigation measures as listed in the initial study. So an initial study was prepared for the project. The public review period for the initial study occurred between December 19th, 2024 and ended on January 20th, 2025. The city intends to adopt a mitigated negative declaration in accordance with Section 15072 of the California Environmental Quality Act. A copy of the environmental determination, accompanied by all of the technical appendices, can be found on the City of Hemet's website, Environmental Documents, and as incorporated into the staff report. Next slide, please. Property owners located within 500-foot radius of the project site and interested parties were notified of the public hearing on December 19th, 2024 with the 10-day noticing for public notice. However, there was a continuation of this project from January to February 18th, 2025, in which the due to a noticing discrepancy. There was a cancellation of the February 8, 2025 Planning Commission meeting due to lack of quorum, and this is a re-noticed public hearing this evening. On February 28th, 2025, the city gave public notice by advertising in the Press Enterprise and mailing to property owners and occupants within 500 feet of the property prior to the holding of this public hearing. To date, we've received a letter from Eastern Municipal Water District with instructions for scheduling due diligence meeting for future plan checking, should this be approved. There was a phone call prior to identifying the discrepancy with the noticing in prior meetings with one property owner located at 1201 Moonstone Street had expressed concerns with regards to the project in terms of privacy, noise, and congestion. We did invite the property owner to come to the city to review the plans, and at the front counter, they did come to the front counter and met with planning staff, and we provided information on the project to the property owner. Next slide, please. With that, this concludes my presentation. It is respectfully recommended that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission Environmental Resolution Attachment 1 to the initial study based on the findings incorporated in the initial study and as provided in the attached exhibits, as well as adopt Planning Commission Resolution Attachment number 2 to approve the site development review and variance, accompanied by attachments, and 3, authorize staff to file a notice of determination with the Riverside County Clerk and State Clearinghouse. The applicant, High Point ILLC staff, is here this evening to answer questions and present further clarification on the project. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation, Director Monique. Does the commission have questions for the staff?
Yes.
Yes. All right, we'll start with, you want to start at the end of the table and work our way over? John?
Sure.
Okay, Commissioner Hill?
Yeah, thank you, Director Monique. That was good. So just to be clear, this applicant has filed under SB 330.
That is correct.
And how many public hearings are we at right now?
I would have to clarify that with our city attorney, but based on, yeah, I would defer to our city attorney on that. There are under SB 30, you're allowed up to five public hearings.
Okay, but when we continued this, did that count?
That's a good question. I would say 5 hearings, since we didn't essentially have 5 hearings. I would say no. So this would be considered the first hearing. Is that correct? We never had a hearing on this.
Unless we continued the item from.
Correct.
That would maybe perhaps be,
Correct.
would count, but we
Right.
could clarify that.
So maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
Okay. All right. So there was only that one public comment, because I didn't see any other comments in the staff report.
That is correct in terms of the date of the staff report and communications with staff directly.
Yeah.
And there may be some testimony and members of the public who wish to speak tonight.
Okay. The only other thing I have is, in going over the conditions, conditions 1 and 2, I would ask staff or the applicant if they would want to amend those and update the dates that are in there.
Yes.
That's the only other thing that I would bring to your attention. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Yes.
Vice Chair Pat?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've read through all the materials, and the project, to me, I think it's an attractive project. I just have a few questions regarding the variance to make sure that we're following proper protocols and making correct findings for the variance. So I have a few questions related to that. For starters, can you explain or provide how many square feet of private open space for each of the floor plans, each of the 4 floor plans how many square feet per unit for each floor plan?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Papp. What I'd like to do, if it's okay, I would like to go back to the slides, and we could take a look at what the floor plans identify, and then at a moment, I can pull up the findings that outline. If we can go to the next slide. If it's okay, if I jump to my computer, I
Sure.
can pull. I can pull
Absolutely.
up one. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Okay, so the studio is approximately 63 square feet. The plan P1A is 85 square feet. The balcony area for P2B is 83 square feet, but the extended balcony on the lower levels is 200 square feet. The balconies for P2A on the upper floors is 88 square feet, but with the extended patio on the lower level is 243. And in the findings of the report, the applicant is requesting a variance from the to an average square footage. The applicant is requesting approval to reduce the overall square footage of 150 square feet, between 100 and 150 to an average of 125 square feet.
So the 150 square foot standard is currently per the Hemet Municipal Code?
150 square feet is private open space for 2 or more bedrooms. 100 square feet of private open space is required for a one bedroom. And then 150 square feet is required for 2 or more, with an average of 125 square feet.
Okay, thank you. Curious, what is the height of the proposed buildings? All the buildings types are 3-story. Are they the same height, or are they varying height?
Thank you for asking that. That was something that I missed when I was presenting this evening. My apologies. The building heights are proposed at 37 feet 2 inches. Building A is 37 feet 2 inches, and building type B is also 37 feet 2 inches.
And what is the maximum height allowed in the zone?
Maximum is 40 feet in height.
So it wouldn't be possible to add a 4th story, unless it were an affordable product?
That is correct, unless they were allowed any height exemptions under density bonus law.
Okay. That's kind of where I'm going with this, is in terms of the variance and the layout of the site, and in order to accommodate the desired dwelling unit count. There's a target range in the general plan for this zone. I believe that this proposed number of units falls within that target range. But absent this variance for the exterior private space, they might not be able to accommodate the number of units that they're proposing.
That is correct.
Okay. And with respect to the common open space that's provided, what would be, I'm sorry, I know you mentioned this, the minimum required for this project based on the number of units was somewhere in the neighborhood, around 50,000 square feet of, sound right, of common open space? And this project exceeds the minimum by how much?
Let me get my calculator out.
What is it? 61,291.
And what's the minimum minimum requirement?
Approximately 4,000.
Okay.
The 61 is a total.
And does that 4,000 square feet over the minimum requirement for the common open area, does that meet or exceed what would be otherwise be the reduction of the private space per unit?
Correct.
Okay. Has there been a market study prepared for the rental units for this project? I believe that there is a shortage of rental units in the city, but just curious if a market study had been submitted with the application materials.
A market study was not included as part of the application submittal.
Okay, I may ask the applicant about that one. A couple of other quick things. I wanted to find out if the neighbors' concerns were addressed when they came to the counter and viewed the materials.
I don't know if the concerns were addressed. We did provide information. There was one of my planners provided that information. The property owner may be here this evening. I have not heard from them since we last communicated. I would defer that to the property owner.
Okay, but they were notified of this hearing?
Yes, they were.
Okay, great, thank you. And then just a couple of other quick things, sorry. With respect to the site itself, I drive by there all the time, and I noticed that there are power poles in the sidewalk. So I was curious if those power lines are intended to be undergrounded or relocated, or if some other method of providing accessibility around those poles would be met as part of the project.
The standard condition of approval will be that the power lines are to be underground. However, there is a process, and it is my understanding the applicant may be looking into that option for a waiver of the underground utilities based on certain findings outlined in our Hemet Municipal Code. But that would be a separate process. The condition of approval will remain as in the as part of this development unless the applicant pursues that through Public Works Engineering.
Okay, thank you. I think that is all of my questions for now.
Thank you, Chair. Just to confirm, Director Monique, the access from Stetson is for emergency vehicles only, correct? And then all access for residents will be off of Elk, which is that intersection at Elk and Stetson is now signalized?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And then, yeah, I personally, I don't have a problem with the waiver. I think, or I'm sorry, the variance. I think, generally speaking, people that are looking for this type of home are not looking to maintain a lot of yard anyways, and out of the 10 acres, 1.5 acres is dedicated for open space, and so that'll be professionally maintained and a good for the residents. On the south side of the project, there's 150 feet from the property line to the nearest structure, but there's a row of carports. The perimeter fencing is, I think it's 6.5 feet of wrought iron. Is there a screening on the south side for the cars going in and out of the carports? Is there something, or is the back side of the carport blocked? Is there something that blocks that from the neighbors to the south?
There will be, or there is existing 6-foot block, perimeter block wall, along with screened landscaping and within a 10-foot landscape buffer.
Okay, gotcha. So the existing is a block wall, and then this one is going to have the wrought iron, or is it going to utilize the block wall that's there?
Yes, so the wrought iron will only be along the frontages of Stetson and Elk.
Okay. And then also appreciate the update to the staff report on the sequence of events in regards to the zoning. So just to confirm that the project has been zoned per recent, or not so recent, council actions. Can you just briefly touch on those?
Sure. So one of the questions was what is the history and the zoning of this property? And in looking at it, I can pull up a slide on the PowerPoint. See if I can pull it up. Okay. Oops. Oh, user error, sorry. Okay. So here is the zoning of the property. I kind of wanted to just kind of give a little context of what happened and why there was some, some changes over time. So there was, at one point in time, the property was zoned R3. And as you can see across Elk Street, the property was commercial, C1. Through a general plan amendment that happened as part of our housing element, our general plan amendment and housing element adoption for the prior cycle, the 5th cycle, which covered a period of 2013 to 2021. As part of that, there was general plan amendment citywide that affected properties throughout the city. So what happened is they rezoned this property to R4, which is even a higher density. It's a 30.1 to 45 units per acre. And then the property that was zoned C1 commercial across the street was rezoned to R4 as well. Subsequently, in 2019, there was a redistribution of property land uses that affected several properties citywide, and this property was rezoned back to R3. So the property is now back to R3. It was R4. The property across the street has also been rezoned to, which, as you can see there across the street, it says C1. It is no longer the case. It is now R3 across the street. So generally, that's the history of it. So the current property zoning is R3, multifamily residential, 18.1 to 30 dwelling units per acre.
Thank you. And all of those amendments to the general plan, those were all done through the public hearing process, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
There's a trend there.
Yeah. Statewide.
Yeah, exactly.
Commissioner Clark, anything? No? And just a couple kind of off questions, but are any of them ADA accessible on the first floors?
So yes, this project, and I can defer to the applicant on this, but they will have to meet building code requirements, ADA accessibility requirements. There'll be a minimum required by the building code.
Okay. And then, and the other question, there was a couple of them, but when it comes to having 3 stories, 4-story, the hospital, different multi-level buildings, how many fire trucks with the ladders are we required to maintain X amount of buildings in case there is a natural disaster? I know one fire truck might not be able to handle the high altitude, the high footage buildings. So I don't know if that's something we have to be looking into for the near future, if we're going to start building more apartment complexes that are 3, 4 stories. If we have to inquire in buying another truck to accommodate any emergencies. So is there a certain number to buildings in the city that require that?
That's an excellent question. So this project in particular went through the fire department access plan, and how it was evaluated. And so in other projects that we've looked at, we've relied upon that we would have aerial apparatus with a fire truck with a ladder up to a certain height would be fine. In this case, it was reviewed based on the minimum drive aisle widths for access, turning radius, a minimum hose pull for the fire truck. But I don't have the answer to how many we would need citywide. That's a high level policy question, but that is an excellent question.
And the last question I have, because most of them got answered, is on the south side, are there any lights being built for the parking lot, for the parking structure? And if so, are they not going to be shining into the residential on the south side wall?
Yes, that's also an excellent question. It will require low-level lighting throughout the parking area. It is incorporated in the plan. A photometric plan was prepared for the project that illustrates that the light spillage would not impact surrounding development. The lighting has to be maintained within the property.
Okay. I think that's about it. Any other questions for staff before we open up public hearing?
Chair, if I may, I have a quick comment to Commissioner Hill's question regarding the hearing. So I looked into a little bit further. Under SB 330, a continued hearing is considered a hearing.
Okay.
However, if it is continued based on lack of notice or noticing issue, I'm going to have to look at that a little bit more deeper, because I don't believe that would be counted. But for any other reasons, such as lack of quorum, it would be counted.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we're going to go ahead and, yes.
And Chair, I apologize. I do want to make one clarification to one of Vice Chair Papp's question about the maximum building height. I indicated 40 feet is the maximum height. The R3 maximum building height is 45 feet. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we're going to go ahead and open up public hearing. Are there any members of the public present or online that would like to comment on this item? Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, Chair Beamster, I do have 4 requests to speak forms, and I'll call upon the first person, Merle Gregg.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and put on my timer here. We usually have a 3-minute public comment period. So I'm going to go ahead and get my clock out here. Just a minute.
Okay. So I read through all of the material, and that sounds like you wrapped it up. My concern is not so much what's being built, is what is going to be, how it's going to be affecting Sierra Dawn. I'm a resident of Sierra Dawn for 8.5 years.
Can you please speak into the microphone?
Oh, sorry. My name is Merle Gregg, and I'm a resident of Sierra Dawn for about 8.5 years. I've had a really positive experience up until this point. I live on the First Street north of Stetson, which is Camino del Rancho, and it's very concerning that this is going to be so close, and I'm concerned about the noise and the noise, but also the dust in construction. The people that live in Sierra Dawn are retired. Many of them are way more than 55 years old. So heart and lung issues are big there. I have asthma. I had a hard time when they built the homes in the back. So I know that's going to be an issue. So it's also going to be an issue with, the noise and then the traffic. All of the streets going through Sierra Dawn will be utilized by the Astor River Oaks. And so that's going to be more concern, more traffic and whatnot. The noise, it comes from the dog park, the playground, the pool, the radios, and the wind comes from the southwest right into Sierra Dawn. Unlike other communities, Stetson has a long row of 55 plus places, and that starts with Seven Hills. The next one is East Lake. Then there is a nursing home next to that, and then the open spaces, and then there's Pacifica, which is it's sort of a memory care and also a little bit of a nursing home, and of course Sierra Dawn. And we have how many people are in Sierra Dawn? 1,474 homes are there. I think the quality of life is going to go down. I really do, just because of the population. And it's not just the population from this. I do know that the owners of this property own the property on the other side of Elk to the west, and that will probably most certainly be phase 2. That's going to be a lot of residents on those streets. Am I 3 minutes already?
You're already at 3 minutes. Time. Oh.
Cindy O'Brien.
Hi there, I'm the property owner on 1201 Moonstone Street. Sorry. Yeah, the noise pollution. Actually, the carport is right back behind my bedroom. I have a friend staying with me also in one of the bedrooms on the side of the house where the noise is, she works PM shift, so she sleeps throughout the morning, and the noise. The property value of my home, I think, will go down. Also, there's a gate that you guys are putting in, or the river project, they're putting in, and it will have access to the street. And so the children going to school will be loud, going back and forth. The lighting in the parking lot was another one. And the maintenance yard is right behind my bedroom also. So I'm just right there around the bend. And so the maintenance workers will be working, I'm sure, throughout the day, late evening, doing maintenance. And that's going to be a noise. So that's really all I have to say. So,
All right. Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Chair, can I just clarify or ask a question on where's the gate that goes to the street? Is that gate to Moonshine or the Moonstone? Moonshine, sorry.
When I look
I
at the
have-
plans,
Is
it
that-
was,
I'm not, is there a pedestrian gate that goes to Moonstone? I don't see that on the exhibit.
Just a minute, Commissioner Worth, I had to close the public hearing if we're going to reopen
sorry.
the discussion.
Okay, we can touch on that after we close public hearing. That's, I'm sorry,
Okay.
thank you.
With that, we're going to go ahead and reopen up public hearing.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I have a request to speak form from Shaw Rosenrager, but I also have Nancy Austin giving her time to Mr. Rosenrager.
Good evening, Commissioners, Chair. On behalf of the Green Coalition, we like this project. We think that Hemet needs more dense housing, which will work better with things like public transportation and commercial developments nearby. And however, I think you're looking at a project that belongs in the past. Our future is, the way California is going, our future is electric. And there are good reasons for that. And what we're seeing a lot of things missing in this project that we would like to see change. And one of the big ones is charging points. In 10 years, most of the cars in California will be electric, and the residents will be stuck with no ability to charge their vehicles. California already has some pretty good programs that allow low-income households to purchase electric vehicles, but there's no place to charge them if you live in an apartment, and you don't have a way to even make it happen if you wanted to, because it's not your property, you're just a renter. So electric cars is important, and electric bicycles are really important. Electric bicycles are becoming a really important component of the transportation system because they allow people to move, to do what's called the last mile from the end of from your bus stop to your house. They work, you can ride them without getting all sweaty and arrive to work like looking presentable. But we need the infrastructure. We need places to store them, and we need places to charge them. So we think that most carports should have a place to charge an electric bicycle or scooter, and to lock it in a way that's safe and secure, because these things are not cheap. This is like the most urgent thing that we see. But in all truth, the apartments should be all electric. There's no reason today to have gas pumped into apartments. We know a lot about air quality, indoor air quality. Burning gas stoves reduces the indoor air quality to a level that would not be accepted outside. And we have excellent substitutes for gas stove. It's called induction. If you haven't tried that technology, we'll be happy to give you a presentation sometime about this, these excellent stoves that chefs really like, because anyways. The other things in a house that are using gas today are, of course, the furnace and the clothes dryer, and both of these can be replaced with heat pumps. And this is the direction California is going, and if we don't ask for this now, then we are, like I said, we're building today apartments that in 10 years will be outdated and undesirable. So let's, it's not more expensive. It's just a question of doing away with those gas lines, which of course we know include all the associated fire hazards, and using heat pump technology. And all those carports in the drawings, really, these are surfaces that should have solar panels on them. it's very affordable and could cover some of the greenhouse gas associated with the functioning, with the everyday workings of these buildings. We also have battery technology. We can have on-site batteries that will allow people to keep on functioning at a not air conditioning, but at least some functional ability in case there is interruptions into the grid, which is happening more and more in our area, as I'm sure you all have experienced this last fall. Yeah, I really, like I said, we like the project. We think it's overall good, but we want to encourage you to build apartments that will be sustainable, will be good not just for the next 10 years, but for the next 50 years, and not become a undesirable, low quality, dated building. Let's build now apartments that will be good into the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments?
I do not have any other public comments. I do not show anyone online requesting to speak.
Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and close the public comment and bring it back to discussion. Commissioner Worth?
Thank you. Sorry about that, Chair. But yeah, I just looking at the site plan. Is there any pedestrian access to the south or to the east of the property line?
Chair, may I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Can we have the applicant come up and maybe he can answer some of these questions?
Yeah, we can bring the applicant up.
I also had something written here. I don't know if this would be a good time to do that, or if we just want to start with specific questions.
No, please
Go ahead.
Please
Okay.
go ahead, yeah.
Hello, Planning Commissioners, staff, and members of the Hemet community. My name is Corey Babinski, representing High Point Communities, here tonight in support of the Astor apartment development. We have worked diligently with the planning staff and engineering department over the course of over 2 years to get the entitlement package to where it is today. We are very proud of the design package and feel it will be a wonderful and necessary addition to the city of Hemet to accommodate the city's projected growth. We took the time to listen to the last city meeting held on February 4th. We truly value the feedback of all the residents and appreciate the opportunity to address some of the more important issues that were brought up. First, we understand that change can be difficult, especially when it affects the neighborhood's daily life. Concerns about noise, privacy, and construction traffic are valid, and we want to assure you that these issues are a priority in the planning and execution phases of the project. We are committed to minimizing disruptions by implementing thoughtful construction management practices, such as limiting construction hours, managing traffic flow, and maintaining privacy for existing residents during the process. We will work closely with local authorities to ensure that these concerns are addressed in a way that balances progress with respect for the community's well-being. Regarding the need for new housing, we want to highlight that Hemet has not seen a significant addition of multifamily units in many years, and this project will help meet the growing demand for more affordable housing options in the area. As you may know, California is experiencing a severe housing shortage, and this development is a step towards addressing that need. The new apartments will provide more affordable housing options for families and individuals who may not be able to purchase a home and still want to live and contribute to Hemet's vibrant community. In addition to providing homes, this project will also bring new job opportunities to the area, both during construction and once the apartments are completed. From construction workers to property management staff and service providers, the development will create a range of local employment opportunities. We also believe that a well-designed multifamily community can offer a number of benefits to the neighborhood. The residents of the new apartments will contribute to the local economy by shopping at nearby stores, dining at local restaurants, and using other services in the area. Furthermore, multifamily developments often include green spaces, recreational areas, and improvements to the surrounding infrastructure, which will enhance the community as a whole. We believe that multifamily housing aligns with the zoning for this parcel and provides a long-term sustainable solution to the housing shortage that is currently affecting not only Hemet, but many areas across California. We are committed to ensuring that this development integrates well with the surrounding community and are open to further conversations to address any additional concerns. Together, we can create a project that benefits all the residents of Hemet while fostering a thriving and diverse community for years to come. Thank you, everybody, for your thoughtful feedback. We look forward to working together to make Hemet an even better place to live and grow. In conclusion, we're very excited to be investing in the thoughtful growth of this community, and we hope to see that the Commission shares this sentiment as well. Here with us tonight, we also have our architect, secret consultant, noise consultant, and civil engineer that can help address any specific questions that might come up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner
So, to the concern that was raised in regards to pedestrian access, is there any pedestrian access from the south or east side?
There is not.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't look like there would be even an opportunity for that. No, I think it's a you know, considering the goals of the state and the housing need, it does seem to be a very well thought out. I think there's the open space that's going to be professionally maintained as a benefit to the residents. I guess only question is there a plan for solar?
So this project is under 2022 code, which mandates the installation of solar as well as EV plugs. So we will, at a minimum, have to meet those requirements.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Have you applied for building permits? Are you in concurrent processing?
We have not processed that yet.
Okay, because the new code cycle should begin on January 1st of 2026. The current 2022 codes will end at the end of this year, and you'd be on a new code cycle beginning January 1st, wouldn't you?
If this is approved during this planning cycle.
Can you approach the podium on the microphone, please?
Hi, I'm Allie Tibbs with High Point Communities. If this plan, if this is approved through the entitlement process, will actually be to adhere to the codes that are currently in place right now. So the 2020 codes would apply to this project when the building permits are pulled in the future. So if this was projected to pass Planning Commission after that new code cycle, then you're correct. We would be enforced to the 2026 code cycle.
Okay, because in response to the gentleman who spoke regarding the Green Coalition,
Yep.
under the current codes, there are requirements for charging stations.
Yes, that's what Corey just mentioned, that
Yeah.
we will meet, the minimum code requirements for EV and solar.
Some of those requirements are likely to be increased in the next code cycle.
Correct. But we will meet what's in the code cycle that we will be conditioned under.
Understood. Thank
Okay.
you.
Commissioner Clark?
What is the target median income for these families?
So we did a market study very early on in the process, and that information is something that we can't share in the public environment.
But where I read luxury, so it's obviously not going to be a low or a...
Yeah, they're just market rate units.
Monique, what does that, how does that help our numbers?
We will receive credit from the arena. We will receive credit for our above moderate requirement.
And we need that,
Yes, we do.
nothing further.
Any other questions for the applicant?
No, but I'd like to state that I think this is a great project. Thank you for bringing this to our city.
Thank you.
And I really do like the layout, what you've done with the clubhouse and the amenities that you're providing for the
Yeah,
people that are there.
Monique can vouch. It's been a long process to get where we are now, and we're really excited about it as well.
Nice job, Monique.
Good job, exactly. I'm on board with everybody else. I like the project, and with the solar being brought up and everything, I don't have any other questions.
Thank
So, you're going to have charging stations for autos, and the gentleman said bikes. Is it just the autos, or are you going to have bike charging stations as well?
We, as far as I know, bike chargers just plug into the wall. I'm not familiar with any specific bicycle chargers.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. I have
Nope.
to reopen.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you.
Okay, Commission?
I didn't get an answer to updating conditions number 1 and 2, whether the staff or the applicant wanted to change those dates that are in there. Some of those are past due, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, Commissioner Hill, yeah, that was an error. Those dates will be corrected to reflect the public hearing this evening.
Okay, thank you.
One question. With respect to some of the concerns that were brought up about temporary impacts related to construction, noise, dust, control, things of that nature, the mitigation measures include, you have your basic best engineering practices, you have mitigation measures to include that. Just want to ensure, will there be signage on site for numbers to call in the event someone has a complaint?
I would imagine that that is just a best management practice as well. I'm not sure what's specifically required in the municipal code, which is essentially what the mitigation measures are reflected. But yeah, having numbers up is something that we as just the developer would mandate our contractor to do.
Great, thank you.
You have your own security, or you're contracting with security?
Sometimes we'll do security cameras. It just depends on the stage of the project. You know, when a lot of copper shows up on a job site, we will oftentimes implement security. Again, that's a conversation that down in that stage we'll have with the general contractor and facilitate a plan.
Something I always recommend too is Hemet Police Department has these mock cameras that are set up that collaborate as a network. And I think they're a great, useful device, and it's something that maybe the developer can look into.
Okay.
For just helping with him at PD if there's any stolen cars or things like that, they can track it. So it's a great system they have. May I entertain a motion unless anybody has questions?
I will move it. I recommend that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission environmental resolution by adopting initial study and MND based on the findings incorporated in the IS as provided in Exhibit 1A and 1B, and the conclusion that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment, and direct staff to file a NOD. And adopt Planning Commission resolution, attachment number 2, by approving with the revisions to the dates. By approving site SDR 23-001 and variance 23-001 as provided in Exhibit 2A and 2B and 2C. Development plans subject to the COAs as provided in Exhibit 2B, and authorize staff to file a notice of determination with the Riverside County Clerk and State Clearinghouse.
I'll second.
Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Worth?
Aye.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Vice Chair Papp?
Yes.
Chair Beamsterfer?
Yes.
And that motion carries 5-0.
Okay, item 7A, City Attorney reports. City Attorney Leo Sawari.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to share a recent case that I looked at recently, so I thought maybe if you guys had some time, you wanted to look into it a little bit more. It's a recent case from the City of Los Angeles. It's Cesar Chavez 888 LLC versus the City of Los Angeles. In that case, the court found that the city acted in bad faith and violated Housing Affordability Act, HAA, when its planning commission denied a 50-unit mixed-use housing development project in Boyle Heights. And it was based on neighborhood gentrification. Gentrification means a process that changes a neighborhood by attracting wealthier residents to a historically disinvested area, which can lead to displacement of original residents. So based on the finding of bad faith, the court issued a judgment directing the city to approve the project and also directed the city to award reasonable attorney's fees and costs just wanted to share what a recent case happened in Los Angeles. So a little bit background of the actual case. The petitioner, which was Cesar Chavez 888 LLC, sought to construct a 50-unit, 6-story project with 5 units affordability to extremely low-income households and a ground-level commercial market where multiple vendors could set up shop. On appeal, the Planning Commission held 4 total hearings on the project between November 2023 and March 2024, and continued the hearing for various administrative failings such as lack of quorum and et cetera. At the final hearing, 3 of the PC commissioners stated that intent to disapprove the project and searched for reasons on to disapprove the project, which the actual judge called the decision in search of a justification. So it's just something to be mindful of for future reference. So there's more on it. If you'd like to look at the actual full case, I'll be happy to forward you the case if you have some time. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. We enjoyed those when Mr. Graham was here. He always gave us a little scenario to what's going on somewhere else in some other city, so it's always entertaining to see what's going on. 7B, Community Development Reports, Director Monique.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to just report that and maybe the Planning Commission would like to discuss this evening further, but we attended the League of California Cities Planning Commissioners Academy March 4th. We had to travel up on Tuesday, March 4th, which is why we had to cancel the Planning Commission meeting, and that ran through Friday the 10th. And so the Planning Commissioners and myself attended that educational session this week. That concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, and 7C, future agenda items, Director Monique.
Yes, thank you. So we do have a few, we have some busy public meetings coming up. We do have the March 18th Planning Commission meeting in which we'll be presenting the General Plan Progress Report, which is then going to be presented to the City Council on March 25th. The report is a state law mandated reporting, and we have to submit it to California Department of Housing and Community Development by April, and the Office of Planning and Research by April 1st. So that will be coming to the Commission on Tuesday, as well as a couple of public hearings that are scheduled for drive-through restaurants. And I believe one of them could be the Quick Quack drive-through Quick Quack development, and then also future Planning Commission hearings schedule will be for the billboard ordinance, and there will be a fencing ordinance as well presented to the Commission. That concludes my future agenda items.
Thank you very much. And last, 7D, Planning Commissioners Reports.
Commissioner Worth?
First off, I just want to thank staff for the flexibility in dealing with my personal issue last week and not being able to attend. Granddaughter is doing very well, by the way. So the only other thing, just maybe an update at some point. Is there any plans in the future to assess the traffic light functionality? We talked about this at our joint meeting about making the smart ones actually smart, or doing some assessment of the traffic signals that don't seem to be working properly. Are there any plans or any effort going to be put? I'm kind of looking back and forth.
I'll have Jolene. Jolene will, our Deputy Public Works Director.
Good evening. I will have to look into that for you. I don't have any update for that, so but I'll get back to you.
They just seem to be getting worse. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I understand.
Thank you. Nothing else.
Thank you. Commissioner Clark?
I was very fortunate to go with my colleagues to Santa Rosa. Kind of a shell shock, all of the information that we received. But after the Planning Commission Academy, developments all around this area have a new legal meaning. And it gives insight to what we as a commission and the public collectively face. So I'm asking to always have a report from our attorney, our community director, and commission members, ourselves. Please bring us all information on current state bills, laws that apply to this planning and this city. I was thoroughly floored at the state bills California has that governs specifically the housing developments. And we need to educate the public just like we got educated. It was a wonderful couple of days, and I feel like my co-conspirators here, so to speak, really gleaned a lot of information out of those 3 days. And I am very fortunate, and I thank you for that. Nothing further.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill?
Nothing to report, thanks.
Thank you. Vice Chair Papp?
Yes, thank you. A couple of things. During our last regular planning commission meeting, somebody from the public spoke regarding the Whittier Road extension from the industrial project off of Lion and Acacia. If anybody's driven by there, you can see that that road has been graded. So yes, that will be completed prior to occupancy of the building. And then I wanted to inform the public and my colleagues up here, in case they're not aware, this will be my last planning commission meeting with the city of Hemet. Probably would have made this announcement at the last meeting, except I was not able to attend either, and we didn't have a quorum. So I thank you all for your patience, your willingness to go through thousands of pages of documents sometimes prior to a hearing, and your excellent questions before this body so that staff can make we can make informed decisions, and we challenge staff to bring that information forward to us. In case you're not aware, the city of Hemet had a recruitment for a deputy director of community development, and the city of Hemet has offered that position to me, and I have accepted. So I'm taking a 2-week road trip with my wife before starting with the city of Hemet on Monday, March 24th will be my first day. So you will still see me around. I just won't be sitting up here with you. But I thank you all for your time, and I really have appreciated this experience. It's been wonderful. Thank you all so much.
Congratulations. You will be missed.
Congratulations, yeah, absolutely.
That's all for me this evening.
Congratulations, Commissioner Papp, Vice Chair
you,
Papp.
Thank you. Chair Beamsterfer?
Well, that is shocking to me, but I am happy that you're still on board with Hemet. With all the great questions you asked, you're still with us in the background, so I appreciate everything you've done here, because we've learned so much off of you. And we know you're still going to be in the behind the scenes, making sure you're using your red pen and finding all the little mistakes, so thank goodness. And then also, I just want to expand on Commissioner Clark, and that we got to go to Cal Cities as well, and Director Monique got to join us, and it's just a great opportunity to be able to have the director with us and get the kind of director and commissioners friendship, get to know each other, as well as everything we've learned. I believe in the last meeting, they did say that California and just the zoning and planning and everything, they have proposed over 2,400 bills. And that's just for this year alone. And it's unbelievable how Sacramento is slowly pushing us to a corner. And It's frustrating, but yet, you know, we just have to learn to develop and adapt and learn how to work around it and work with it. So anyways, with that, I have nothing else to report, and congratulations again, Vice Chair Papp, on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm looking forward to you
And with
being
there
at
be
the
no
podium. I'm looking forward to Vice Chair Papp being at the podium and do
Yeah.
the presentation.
We'll ask them all the tough questions. All right, with there being no business to discuss, this meeting is adjourned to the next planning commission meeting scheduled for March 18th at 6 PM.